Hi, I'm Scott with Ask Your Preacher. In today's modern world, the Bible is often viewed as an out-of-date book that's out of touch. As technology has increased, it seems that the view that the Bible is archaic has also increased. After all, the point of view at least is that a book written thousands of years ago by men in toga and sandals can't have a whole lot to do with us. The conversation often goes something like this.
I don't get it.
Don't get what?
I've never understood why anybody would read the Bible. It literally has nothing to do with reality.
So how do you answer that question? Here you are at lunch, stuck with only a couple of minutes, and you have to try and prove that God wrote the Bible? That is a very big subject for a small amount of time. Pretty much an impossible task, right? No. Here's what you do.
Tell that to the Navy.
Excuse me?
Yeah, did you know the U.S. Navy actually admitted that the Bible knew more about science in one verse than they knew with all of their experts put together?
What?
Yeah, I can show you the verse if you want.
Yes.
If you don't have their attention now, you're never going to get it. So, you ready for the rest of the story? In the late 1800s, the first superintendent of the Naval Observatory was a man named Matthew Fontaine Maury. He was in charge of plotting the seas and making the best and safest routes for U.S. ships to travel. His nickname became Pathfinder of the Seas, and he is considered the father of modern oceanography. He also carries the title of Scientist of the Seas. Maury, the great naval cartographer, owed his success to the Bible. You see, Maury loved the ocean, and at age 19 he enlisted in the U.S. Navy and traveled the world. He loved his life, and he enjoyed everything about the open water. He had exactly the life that he wanted, that is, until tragedy struck. You see, at age 33, Matthew was in a stagecoach accident that broke his hip and his knee and left him bedridden and clinging to life. As he lay there struggling between life and death, he asked one of his daughters to get the Bible and to read to him. She chose Psalm 8, and when she got to the 8th verse, he had to read it again. Psalm 8, verse 8, changed Matthew's life. You know what that verse says? The birds of the heavens and the fish of the sea, whatsoever passeth through the paths of the sea. Maury heard that verse, and he said, paths of the sea. The paths of the sea, if God says that they're there, they're there. And if I ever get out of this bed, I'll find them. Eventually, Maury did get better, and he went on to find the major ocean currents that are still used today for shipping lanes and modern naval navigation. In Richmond, Virginia, there is a statue erected to Matthew Fontaine Maury with him holding a sextant in one hand, his charts in the other, and a Bible at his feet. On the statue is a simple plaque which says, Matthew Fontaine Maury, Pathfinder of the Seas, the genius who first snatched from the oceans and atmosphere the secret of their laws. His inspiration, Holy Writ, Psalm 8, verse 8, Ecclesiastes 1, verse 6. The Bible isn't a science textbook, but because God wrote it, it is accurate in every scientific detail, right down to the description of ocean and wind currents. In fact, there are dozens of verses in the Bible just like that describe scientific concepts that are common knowledge today, but were unheard of and way ahead of their time thousands of years ago. For example, Job 26:7 describes the earth as hanging on nothing. While the Greeks thought Atlas held it up, the Japanese gave credit to a giant catfish, the Indians say it was 4 elephants, or sometimes 7 serpents, and early Siberians believed the earth sat on a sled pulled by huskies, and earthquakes were caused when the dogs stopped to scratch their fleas. And really, who can blame them? It is natural to assume the earth sits on something because everything else in the natural world requires some sort of structure to hold it up. However, thousands of years before Newton wrote his theory of gravitational pull in 1687, the Bible plainly states that the earth hangs on nothing, even when people would have thought it was ludicrous. Or Job 36, 27 through 28, Amos 9, 6, and Job 26, verse 8, which describe the water vapor cycle. Or the laws for sanitation God gave the Israelites in places like Leviticus 13:45 through 46. All of these verses show a knowledge of the natural world that far exceeds what people knew at the time that the Bible was written. Which begs the question, who told them? 2 Peter 1, verse 21 says, "For no prophecy ever came by the will of man, but men spoke from God, being moved by the Holy Spirit." The Bible gives extraordinary information because it has a supernatural author. The creator of the universe gave us the Bible, and there is no other book like it. So, next time somebody tries to tell you how unscientific the Bible is, you just tell them about the pathways of the sea. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to see more videos and Bible answers, you can visit us at www.askyourpreacher.org. You can like us on Facebook, or you can click the subscribe button above. And as always, remember, for every Bible question, there is a Bible answer.